got asked a really interesting question the other day when I was talking about what happens after we die, and that everybody that we've ever known in this lifetime and in previous lifetimes, all souls that we are connected with, are there to welcome us home. And this person had actually said that frightened her, the fact that she didn't want to meet up again with somebody that she had known in this lifetime, because they were very cruel to her in this lifetime. They were mean to her, and they did some very, very horrible things to her in this lifetime. They had now since died, and she actually had a fear that when she died herself, she would have to confront them again. Now, I think the thing is, we get a little bit caught up in the fact that when we're in this physical body, we have a brain, right? We have a physical brain. The physical brain is what creates all the thoughts, depending on what's going on around you, is what you make those thoughts. You're the one that puts them into the brain, right? So when you've died out of the physical body, you don't have a brain. And I think we kind of, if you've ever thought about this, have you ever thought to yourself, you know someone who's passed away and you knew their whole entire personality, you knew how they used to think, and so you believe that when they're on the other side, they're the same. They think the same. Have you got that concept? Because you're thinking that that person is still physical. They don't have a physical brain anymore. They can't think like they did on Earth. They can't possibly do that because they don't have a brain. When you're just focusing on your breathing, right? In your physical body right now, you just stop what you're doing and you focus on your breathing. You take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, and you just think about your breath. Nothing else comes into your mind because you're focused on your breath. So where has your brain gone? Like, it's when you do that, when you just breathe and you focus just on your breath, you understand what it's like to be in that higher consciousness without the thoughts that you have from the ego self. So it kind of can help you when you focus on your breath. If you keep practicing that during the day, just whatever you're doing, if you've got 5 minutes, stop what you're doing and just think of the breath going in, think of it filling up your lungs, and think of the breath going out again. And while you're doing that, you'll start to realize that you're not thinking about anything else. And then it'll help you to understand that that is your higher consciousness. That is a part of you that's so much higher than the thoughts that are going around and around in your mind. And then you can understand that when we pass over, we go into that higher consciousness. We're always in that higher consciousness. So if somebody did you wrong on Earth and they hurt you, when they have passed over, there is a review. Now, I always was taught, it was programmed into my head as a child, that it would be God that judged us. I envisaged that we had to go in front of a council and there was the high power of God there, and he would ask me questions about, or he would point out things to me that I did wrong, like if I had sinned or, if I had done things wrong in my life. That was what was instilled in me from an early child, of having to go to Sunday school and having to be, taught religious beliefs to start with. But as I studied near-death experiences, and then as I started to connect with those that had passed away, and then when I went through that feeling myself, we don't get judged by God. We do a review of ourselves, and we understand why we treated people in a certain way. We understand what our own insecurities were. We understand absolutely everything, and we send love into that situation, and we send love to that person. So when you pass away and then they're already there and you meet up, there is nothing like the brain. The ego at the moment might be thinking, I don't want to see them. There is none of that. it's just a total understanding of what you brought to one another to teach one another. Because the person that was mean has learnt a very, very valuable lesson. Their review on the other side, the understanding of a personality that can be created, they understand the experience. They are now wise to how that feels. So in their next lifetime, they can use that wisdom. And you learn something yourself. You learn to be stronger from situations. You learn trust. You learn to look after yourself. You learn boundaries. You learn so much. So when you get to the other side and you meet up with their soul again, you are actually thankful. You are thankful to them. They are thankful to you for what you shared and what you learnt for the growth of both of the souls. That's how the higher consciousness sees it. Down here on earth, the ego would be going, I don't want to see them again. I can't face them. That's just, but you don't have a brain. You don't have that thinking brain when you get to the other side. So there is nothing to fear. They are not the same person that they were here. The personality you have while you're here, the thoughts you have, they're just for here. Because you have a brain. When you are out of your body, out of all that physical stuff, you're just a higher consciousness again, which always comes from a place of love. So there is nothing to fear. So I hope that makes sense.